know, so.
What a feeling.
Make us believe.
Welcome to the Shipsgonnahappen podcast show. It's Saturday, December 4th, 2021. Three men on a mission. My name is Tony B. With us in the studio, David B. and Matty G filling in for the vacationing Timmy D. Our views are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any business entity that uses any transportation provider. It's just three great Americans, David, Tony B., and Matt G., with 70 years of experience discussing the transportainment news and topics that affect the industry that brings us the products that make us happy Americans. We do it for the transportainment side of things. That's right, transportainment. You can reach us, find us at shipsgonnahappen.com, Twitter, Rumble, Facebook, iTunes, and SoundCloud.com too. Today's topic, SoCal update, is Shipsport, a little bit of that. David B's got a bunch on his mind, and Matt's got a bunch on his mind. David B, happy Saturday morning to you, brother.
Good morning, producer Tony. Hope you're doing well on this crisp December morning. When was the last time you mowed? Because that yard still looks, I mean, for early December, that's a good looking yard. It almost looks like you just went out and manicured it like recently or whatever, but good looking yard. Today's show brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. A good place to go to get beverages, some good food, catch up with the locals, hear some good music. Just a good place to go. The Great Divide, downtown Indianapolis. Matty Ice, how are you this morning, sir? Good to have you back.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Well, and Timmy D's out hunting today, so I think it's snipe. Is it snipe season?
Yeah.
Is it snipe season or whatever? So he's out snipe hunting this morning, and so we'll get him back in the studio here in about another week or so.
Bam, he'll be back. Matty G, what's going on, brother?
Oh, not much, guys. I mean, I'm looking out. It's a beautiful day as far as the sun shining again on that well-manicured lawn of yours, but no, not a whole lot's going on in my world, guys. I'm just looking forward to today. And again, appreciate having me on. Seems like Mr. Timmy D, what is he on? He just has whatever shift he wants, right?
Right.
Has Timmy D worked there 40 years and he's got like 8 weeks vacation?
Yeah, he must.
He seems like it.
I think he just takes off.
Is he running the place?
He might. It sounds like it. I'm not his boss anymore, so I'm not sure what he does.
You guys take it. I'm gone.
Yeah.
But hey, thanks for tuning in today. We'll get into topic number. We really just had a couple things we wanted to talk about, and one thing was the ports real quick. We'll get into that, a quick update, and then we'll toss it around. Here we go. Thanks for joining us. Happy Saturday morning. Tony B here. Marine Exchange in SoCal as of December 3rd, 8 a.m. is reporting a total of 135 ships, David B, in port. 72 anchored, 62 at berth. What I have noticed over this trend is usually we've been on the higher end than that, right, fellas? It's usually been way higher, so that looks a little better.
They're starting to find they're finding whoever to get those things moving a lot quicker and getting them turned around faster, getting chassis underneath of them, getting them moving. So you're starting to see it clear up a little bit.
Yeah, and I think those fines that they levied probably has encouraged some people to unload it a little quicker.
Yeah.
So,
and again, this is kind of a consumer. This is kind of a consumer-made problem. You know, people sitting at home during the pandemic ordering stuff. It's not because there is shortages in the industry as far as drivers and laborers are concerned. But for the most part, this is a man-made issue.
Have you guys ordered anything from Amazon recently?
No.
My wife, I think, orders something in her sleep every night.
She's got auto
yeah, I
order.
think so. I think if you would see my wife sleep, she's always kind of half sitting up and she has her phone in front of her. And I'm surprised she just doesn't like send out stuff on Facebook just because she's always holding it while she's sleeping.
I'll tell you what, I made the dumb mistake. You know, if we're in a society nowadays that people are allegedly ordering stuff online more than they are going to the store, I made the dumbass mistake of going to Walmart yesterday after work. Yeah, I think the whole damn town was there.
Really?
So
shopping season.
Yeah, just so busy. The whole town was there. I mean, it was good to see. I just prefer to go to Walmart at 6 a.m.
Now, did you see anybody in there that actually knew you?
No.
Okay.
I kept my head down. No, I went and got what I needed and got the hell out because I was pissed off that, of course, in typical Walmart fashion, there's a whole a whole store full of people and they have one goddamn lane open. You know, the self-checks, and in the Lebanon Walmart, there's only 4. There's 4 on all the way down by the kind of the yard, lawn and garden, and there's one by the other main entrance, or there's 4 there, there's 4 down there, and then one checkout in the middle. That just makes no sense.
Yeah. You bring up a good point, the self-checkout. Because I've seen some people that are pro and con on that. And me, I am adamantly on one side of the fence. So just kind of curious before I give my opinion. Do you guys have any opinion on the self-checkout?
If I've got a grocery cart full of $200 worth or less or what, I mean, there's a dollar figure in my head. If it's, if it's something I can bam really quick, get in and out, I don't mind. But if I've got $200 worth of groceries in my cart, you best fucking have something. Oh, excuse my language. That we best have it open. So I'm not paying all that money for groceries to do it myself. So
I like them.
Oh yeah.
I like them because it's just real convenient, to get through quicker, I think. And I always hate the one that's, the 12, 20 items or less. And you've got the one that's in there that's got 68 items.
Oh, that's my point.
They squeeze them in there and, and you're like, what the hell? Or you go to Meijer, especially Walmart's probably worse. And they've got 18 self-checkouts and 2 are open.
Yeah, right.
It's like they have the red light on them, and they're herding the cattle into the 2 lines so they can. Right. Who knows?
I mean, I would definitely use a self checkout if I can. Now, to your point,
some gas stations have them now.
I'm not the rude guy that's taking, it's 20 items or less or whatever that number is, and I'm walking up with twice that. A lot of times I kind of depend on how small of the stuff is that I have in a cart, not so much more than the number. Mm-hmm. Like if I was buying like 30 sticks of deodorant, I'd probably just go through the checkout because I can do that very quickly.
Yeah,
but
right.
When your cart is full and you've got 40 case of water and 12 pack of beer and 5 loaves of bread and all this other stuff that's taking up a lot of room, and you can't even fit it on the once you scan it and then you got to put it in a bag, or you have that little area to set it on that it's it tells the weight, it's got to be able to sense it. If you've got so much crap that you can't even fit it on there, you shouldn't be in that line. But for me, if I can get away and use that and I don't actually have to talk to somebody,
right,
and go through a check. And I'll tell you another thing that bothers me on checkout. So this is when I have a full cart and I have to go through a normal checkout. My whole point of getting my stuff bagged, and I know I might be in the minority, but I want you to put it in as few bags as you can without the bag busting. Yeah, and I don't give a shit whether you put rat poisoning in with my ground beef. I don't care. Get it in as few bags as you can. If I had to worry about that the ground beef's got a hole in it, I wouldn't have picked up the goddamn package.
Right.
If I picked up the rat poisoning and it's pouring out the bottom of it I'm not putting it in my cart.
Right.
So I'm taking along the assumption that we've got everything looks good and it's not going to pour over each other. I would rather you maximize the bag, double bag it, double bag it. Yeah. And then, I'm walking out there with 6 bags as, it's like, well, this is a deodorant. I'm going to put that in a bag by itself.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I'm going to put like 4 canned goods in here. And then I could put your bottle of wine in there, but no, I'm going to double bag that. And I'm going to set that up I'm like, Jesus Christ. You've put 4 bags and I could get that in one, and I'll usually right in front of them. I'll rebag it right in front of them.
Yeah.
And I even tell them, like, I'll say, hey, look, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Hey, by the way, get this in few bags as you can. and then they don't listen. And I think maybe they're told, hey, you can't put your hamburger with your Clorox.
I was a manager at Aldi. They are.
I'm sure they say that, but I'm telling you to go ahead and put the Clorox with the hamburger. Because I'm going to turn around and put the Clorox with the hamburger if you don't do it. So that drives me batty.
That's hilarious.
So that's a kind of a pet peeve I've got.
Speaking of Aldi, I did see a good thing. Like, I know we don't shop there, but like people that go there, they just put their stuff. They put their stuff in the. We got a coffee break here, I did see people putting their stuff in like laundry baskets and taking it out. I'm like, that's not a bad idea. That's where they're shoving as much shit in that laundry basket at Aldi that they possibly could. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. So they're just taking that laundry basket in the house to the kitchen and offloading it there. And I'm like, not a bad idea.
Well, shit, Aldi probably has the bleach next to the hamburger anyway, so it probably doesn't matter anyway.
Yes. It probably was bleach.
Yeah.
And so when I was at Walmart, yes, I got 3 bags of water softener, installed a big thing of paper towels. So I did do the self checkout just because it was quick, like boop, 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 boop. And going through there, I always wonder. So yesterday I took the plunge, like the Walmart deli stuff. I always just kind of walk by there because I'm like, that's probably not very good. But yesterday, like the chicken wings kind of caught my eye. So I'm like, give me those barbecue chicken tenders that you have there. And so I bought those, and there was a different flavor, like General Tso's or whatever. Those weren't very good, but the barbecue better than B-Dubs. It was that good. Yes, really, really good. I'm like, this is better than I thought. You know, I'm opposite you. I like chatting it up with the Walmart employees. I'm like, hey, how you doing today? I said, are these really good? And she's like, oh yeah, they're great. And there was lines of people there to buy stuff, which I just never thought of the Walmart
I'd
deli.
be okay with them having scanners on all the items and having my bank card linked up to Walmart or Meijer, and then I just walk in and scan me, walk out and scan me.
I think they have, don't they have like a Walmart Plus or something like that where you can check yourself out in the store?
What?
I'm pretty sure.
I do that at Sam's. I don't know if you do, if either of you remember at Sam's, but at Sam's, it's awesome. And I look at all these people because Sam's Club, the lines are always huge. And I sit there and I look at all these people and I think, you're just goddamn idiots because the app is so easy. I mean, you just simply scan it.
What do you mean? You get your stuff in a cart and you got an app?
So let's say I just grab a cart. You walk in, I show my card. I start walking by the 85-inch TVs right when I walk in. And then I go past that and, whatever, I work my way back to the food section. And so, if I see like, I don't know how many pounds of hamburger they sell it as, 5 pounds of hamburger, I just take my phone and it's got a little scanning part of the app on the Sam's Club, and you just scan the code.
So it keeps track of your grocery items?
Yeah. So everything I put in there, I'm scanning. Now, there are a couple of exceptions like alcohol, right? Because they don't know there's no way to prove your age on that. But yeah, everything else in there, you just scan it, you got it in your cart, and then you just hit checkout. You just got your credit card saved in there, and wham, you're done. And as soon as you just hit, I'm done, because they always have the person that's waiting at the door to look at your receipt, to mark it off. You just have your phone, and after you've hit checkout, it brings up a barcode on your phone, and they just simply scan that barcode. And then they'll typically 1 or 2 items that are in your cart, they'll just quickly scan it just to make sure that you did actually pay for it. And it is so much easier. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I think some other places have started doing it, but I don't know if it's to the extent of like what Sam's has done. And I could see like if you're at just a normal grocery store, you can't walk out of there with a whole cart worth of stuff and not be able to bag it. So I'm sure there would be, at some point, you would have to bag stuff, which would slow you up. Yeah. To the point where it's like, okay, well, if I have to bag it, then I don't know that there's much advantage to me pre-scanning all this stuff. But maybe it would. I haven't done it. So.
But then again, if you take the Aldi way where you take your laundry basket or 2 in and you just put it all in there and then separate it when you get out to the car, just thinking out loud. Yeah. So the Walmart thing, though, you have to pay like for a yearly membership, and I think it's like $98 to scan yourself out, for my convenience, I have to pay a membership.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
Yeah,
make
I'm
sense.
saving you money.
Yes.
So,
do
David, what
that.
kind of barbecue was that from Aldi?
Just the regular.
It was pretty good.
Whatever the sauce.
It was Walmart, right? Not Aldi, right? Or was it
It was
Aldi?
Walmart.
It was Walmart.
Yeah, we don't do. I can't bring myself to go into Aldi
Yeah.
anymore. It was Walmart. It was just a regular, and then they had a General So's. I don't know if that was. It was supposed to be hot, but it didn't. I think it was more of an Asian thing, and I can't do Chinese or. Well, I immediately spit it out. I'm like, oh, this.
You don't
is
do
nasty.
Chinese? I don't either, man.
I can't.
I never have been able to.
I thought, well, maybe this is good, but the overall, I mean, the quality of the chicken tender or boneless chicken wing or whatever it was
good.
Very good.
So
Very good.
Part of the reason I brought up that Amazon thing is what I noticed. We've had a couple packages come for the wife for Christmas, and the boy had ordered some stuff. They're back to the tracking of where it's like on time now, where they're not backing it off. So I've noticed that, and they're actually showing you the stops visually now, like you're 3 stops away. They stopped that for a long time, and now it looks like that's back. So,
Anytime, like Matt said, it's about the same way at our house. Every day, UPS, FedEx, or Amazon is pulling up. I'm like, what the fuck is getting delivered now?
I know.
They just stop.
Well, and the other thing too, remember we talked about all those Amazon FedEx numbers a long time ago, like in the spring. They've ramped up so much now that they are expected to be number one, I think, by 2023.
UPS took over as the number one freight company in the world this week.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
FedEx. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess here's my big question on, we're talking about the ports and the congestion's like slowly starting to come down. Here's the $1 million question. Is it becoming, are we catching up because we're doing a better job of processing, or are we catching up because the volume is slowing down? Because the volume, if it's starting to slow down, that worries me a little bit.
Well, go ahead, David.
Well, I from what I'm reading, I don't think it's necessarily because the volume is slowing down. I think it's because the process they put fines in place to make, to try to make the procedure go better. I could be wrong, but from what I'm reading, that's why.
I looked it up late last night, and you're right. It's the fines have helped it. It's reduced it by 20%, they think, on the LA Long Beach ports. So it's helped.
So
but I think
who are you paying the fine to?
They're paying it. I don't know that part.
Who's charging? Is it the
I think
government?
That's what I'm thinking.
It's the container.
So is that how
It's the
Biden
container.
is solving it? Is just charging people?
It's not really working wholeheartedly. This article right here says it's kind of working in some areas because they're able to apply that charge, but some of these container lines are owned by nations, and they're not really.
Yeah,
you got 40,
I guess that would be another. That'd be
you
a
got
big
40
question.
some terminals.
Who's charging these fines?
Yeah. You know what? We'll dig into that. We'll find out because that's a good question. I'll find that out. Maybe I'll email Jared and we'll find out.
There we
That's
go.
a good question for Jared. But
if we had a good producer, he'd already be looking it up.
if I could have predicted your question. But I think some of them are getting shoved off to other ports too. So Savannah's all of a sudden became overloaded, and Target and Walmart got their own private steam lines. Okay. So I think some of that combination of that is, has helped it, and flying stuff into Chicago, right, making that a international import, right. So that's the only way they're going to be able to get it around. But I think you saw the unemployment numbers, right? They weren't as good as they thought they would be. You still got 90-some million Americans not working. That's astonishing.
The unemployment rate in Indiana is 3.1%.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is really good.
So,
and you can listen to past shows to hear my whole thing on unemployment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's really 8% according to real mathematicians. It's really at 8% because you have 90. They don't know. I mean, where did these 90? Some of these people are not collecting unemployment benefits anymore. So I mean, what happened to these? Where'd they go, man?
Yeah, they're getting money somehow.
Gotta be right.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless they're just moving out to the street.
Maybe
they're going to San Francisco.
Yep. Right.
They're the ones laying on the street corner. Well,
is that song back from the 60s? Is it "Have You Been to San Francisco" or something like
that?
If
you're going,
if you're going
to San Francisco, make sure to bring a tent.
Yeah,
Right.
make sure to bring a tent and
Yes.
and a handgun.
Which record label is going to pick us up now is what I want to know. After
Yeah.
that 3-part
We've been
harmony
banned.
going on right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Well, you better not bring a gun out to San Francisco.
you can't, right?
Now
Probably.
you can take a dump right there on the sidewalk, but God forbid,
Yeah.
as you bend down,
Don't defend yourself.
Bend down, the gun falls out of your belt.
What about
What would
It's like,
we
hey,
call?
I can overlook you shitting on the sidewalk, but I can't overlook you having a handgun on you.
Oh my God! Hey, watch out for those heroin needles. Get rid of that
Yeah.
handgun.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
my
would we
God.
call the trio? The Matty Ice and the dock workers, or Matty Ice and the freight dude, or something?
The
Whatever
freightettes.
it is. Yeah. There we go.
Oh man! Well, that's good stuff. That's all I really had. We really had on that, right? You just
Nice,
want to get
yeah.
into some other
I mean,
stuff.
I guess
here?
that's good news, right? I mean, if the volume is
I think
truly
it
not
is.
dropping, because the inflation numbers spooked me a little bit, thinking
Well-
that at some point that's going to catch
The
up.
only shocking number in this whole research thing I did, which was David and I've talked about this a lot, and this is coming from Jiminy Crickets. This is coming from WebTech Port Optimizer. This is from a SoCal company. The only thing that stuck out to me on here that was kind of shocking was the average wait time now is 16.9 days. So I don't understand how it's gone down.
Yeah, that wait time should be down too.
Yeah, it's not. And they had a bar graph, and it showed that the lowest it ever was in May, and it was like 8 days, 9 days. So the average actually has creeped up.
So if the days are staying the same, but yet stuff is getting processed quicker, that tells you they've had to throw more labor at it.
Right.
Instead of having 2 cranes going, they've got 4 cranes going.
Yeah, and it might be the logistics and people like us, Matt, getting it
Right.
from the ports
Yeah.
quicker now,
So,
getting it
yeah.
off the docks.
Yeah.
I also heard a story earlier in the week. We've done stories about like it's the chassis that are the issue.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was I don't forget where it's probably NPR. It had to probably be NPR. Where there's guys out on the west coast, and we've got chassis stacked high as you can, as deep as you can. It's just a matter of somebody wanting to move them.
Right.
So
And it's funny you said that because it's a very hard item to move unless it's on a flatbed because of the width of some of these axles. They take the width of the trailer, and it's a sad thing. The most item needed right now in the trucking industry is those axles, but it's also kind of the hardest product to move in our environment due to the width of these things. So I know there's some big makers here in the Midwest that make transaxles. There's a big one in Lebanon.
Yep.
So
where else would you want to be?
hey, it's the place to be, man. That's a booming area, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only other place that might be worse than Lebanon might be the actual country of Lebanon.
Right. Oh.
It used to be a great country at one time.
Yeah, and
Beautiful
so
people.
I know we've got a large listening crowd in the country of Lebanon. So no, as Ronnie Dangerfield would say, no offense.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we'll wrap that up, David. We'll get into what's on your mind here. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go. David B. What's on his mind? David B. Hit us with it.
So I guess we'll just start with the obvious thing. Thanksgiving was about a week ago. So, and I was rude and not ask you guys, but how did both of you guys have really good Thanksgivings? Family
It
stuff.
was
and
as there was no surprises.
no.
That's always
Yeah.
cool.
No
Well-
squabbles over politics or anything like that.
Did you do the drinking we were talking about? Did you do it?
Actually, we did, and I should
Imagine
give,
that.
and I'm glad you said that because David B, you had mentioned going with
mules?
the mule, right? And to be honest with you, because the last time we did the show, it was we were only a couple of days away from
Right.
Thanksgiving when we did the show, and so that kind of stuck with me. And I told the wife, I said, I think I'm gonna bust out and do some mules. And
Inspirational, David.
and
You
I
were
did.
inspirational.
There is no
And so
better
what
drink.
was funny is that we had some friends that came over later in the afternoon, and they had never tried my mule, and so that we were already kind of drinking them. And
He's talking about a drink, so everybody
yeah,
knows.
yeah. The Moscow Mule.
We'll call it the Matthew Mule.
Oh, bam.
Matthew Mule.
I like it.
And so,
Hell yeah.
But so when they walked in, I said, "Hey, do you guys like mules?" And now the girl wasn't so much, but the guy said, he said, "Yeah, I like them." And I said, "Well, you came to the right place." And I'd already had a few.
They knew what you were talking about.
So I was, yeah.
See, I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, you're not drinking enough.
I would have thought you had a mule in the backyard or something.
No.
Got a mule back there?
Not that kind of mule.
I'll take a ride.
I probably would have called that a donkey, and that could be another story. I don't know what. There's a difference between a donkey and a mule. Or I don't know.
Go ahead.
About
But anyway, drinking.
Yeah. So he said, sure. And I said, and I was already feeling a little cocky because I had a few. And I said, well, this is going to be the best one you've ever had. And he's like, dude, no. And of course, I made it and handed it to him. And guess what he said? Yep.
Glory, hallelujah.
And two of the girls that were there who said in the past that they didn't like them actually had multiple ones. So I went through, actually ran out of both.
They weren't britches dropping off if they had multiple ones. That's
No,
them girls.
But I'd ran out of ginger beer, and I had extra that was there from. Damn. I had some diet
ginger beer,
ginger beer, which was the same brand. Which is, we ought to get Gosling as a sponsor, yes. But they have the best. And then I ran out of limes, and as you know, I put a full lime in each drink. So ran out of limes, and the limes happened to correspond with how many total ginger beers I had. So yeah, it ran out actually. So we had to move on to something else. But yeah, it went really well. No controversy. Everything went well. I should say that the year before we did have a huge controversy
in the house.
Is that my sister-in-law was supposed to make the pumpkin pies, and she got confused. And so here we were looking for pumpkin pie at the end of the day, and there was no pumpkin pie. So for the entire year, I have busted her chops. And so this year when we had to, that sounds good.
It does.
He's not peeing.
A cup of coffee.
He's not in the bathroom. That's coffee being poured. I just told her, I said, hey, we can't count on you.
Right.
We're going to be making
You failed us last Thanksgiving.
We will be making we will not have Thanksgiving ruined.
You live in Mount Vernon, City of Champions,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
You come prepared.
Yes. So we made the pies this year.
Nice.
So
did you make the pies or did Mrs.
No.
Ice
When I say
make the pies?
we, I mean the household. The wife does it all.
Yes.
She does an excellent job.
I bet
she won't listen to this, but that's kudos to her.
Nice.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. So, everything went well. I can't complain.
What about you, Tony B? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, man, it was awesome. My wife did a great Thanksgiving. Like I told you before, I just stay out unless I'm needed, and wasn't really needed. And everything went good.
But you had family over, right?
Yeah, Dad came up and stepdad came up, and we had a good time.
Do you partake? I mean, do you have a cocktail or something that you might make up, or have a special beer? Or
I think I drank a few Coors Lights. Usually we'll do. I like that tequila.
It's innovative.
Yeah.
No, I'm just messing with you.
That's a pretty predictable beer. I got probably a couple in the fridge now, but yeah, we did that and just did the stuffing, and makes a good stuffing, and turkey was. She brines it, does the whole. I mean, it was really good. Mm-hmm. So
brines it for a day.
Brines it for overnight and does a nice job. It just was falling off she went ahead and made. It's pretty neat. She makes turkey salad, and then like a tuna salad sandwich type thing.
How was that?
Oh man, it was incredible.
Never even thought about making turkey salad.
That sounds good. I wouldn't have thought about that either.
Yeah. So we ate that for a few days after. So we ate turkey for a few days, but it was good. How about yours, man?
I'm good. We did a nice little trip to West Virginia, which the state park, Holly River State Park, which is literally smack dab in the middle of the state, and there's nothing anywhere around it. So you better have been prepared, and we were. So we didn't have to make a run for anything. The state park that we stayed at was a little different. I mean, again, it was really remote. And there was another state park north of there, a couple hours, called Blackwater Falls, which is best state park
David,
ever.
do you stay in a camper or a tent?
Cabin.
A cabin, okay.
So when we got there, they had a nice little thing of wood set out for us for the fire. And but if we needed extra wood, we had to pay for it. And I'm like, what? There's all these trees around here, and it's a state. It's just trees everywhere. Because at Blackwater Falls, they just here. There's plenty. They have you a little shed outside full of wood, chocked full of wood.
They didn't leave you an axe?
No. No. Next time, if we ever go back to that state park, which was a really good state park, I would definitely be a little bit more prepared. The one thing though, driving out to West Virginia, we had a good drive out, and about Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which was about 4.5 hours into right before we got there, our youngest daughter, who's at the university in England, delivers a nice FaceTime call that kind of blew the mood. She's like, got something to tell you. Don't be mad. You're like, oh, here we go. So the first thing that ran through both of our minds is that she was pregnant.
You're going to be a grandpa.
Yeah, no, it's not what it was going to be. She decided to tell us that she's getting married. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. To
an Englishman?
To an Irishman. to an Irishman. So they're going to get married in Belfast. And to quote Catherine, they want to do it soon. So we don't know anything more than that. But that definitely was a.
Were you aware she was dating somebody?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Not. But he's a student also, or is or was. I'm not sure where he's at in his. It's definitely more than Catherine, but.
So you think they'll come back to America, or you think
no?
So you and the wife are going to have to fly over to England, and
well, we'll see. One of the two of us will go, and I'm fairly certain it won't be me. Not that I don't want to. I mean, I would prefer. I mean, if we all get to go, we do. I just don't see that being something that's what I actually think is going to happen. The next phone call,
we could do the show over there at a pub,
awesome.
At a local Irish pub.
Hey, let's go.
Let's say, hey,
write this thing off,
fellas. We hear you're pretty good at drinking, but we're not too shabby in the state of Indiana either.
Oh, try these mules. You guys tried the American mule?
Yeah, there we go. I almost would bet that the next phone call is, we got married. What? I don't know. You just Tim and I talked earlier in the week, and he goes, and he remembers me saying that I didn't think that she's ever going to come back. Like, come back isn't permanently come back. And, this kind of solidifies that she's probably going to this is in Belfast. Actually, they'll get married in Belfast.
Was the fiance on the FaceTime call?
Yeah, but it was.
Did he call you dad?
No, no. Like Tim goes, he didn't ask you first. I'm like, no, I don't know that they're brought up anymore to do that.
Maybe I don't know what the Belfast.
Well, Belfast isn't it? That's like
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Northern Ireland. That's where they shoot each other, right?
Yeah.
Catholics and Protestants
you
over
can't
there.
think differently over there.
So, did you ask him if he was Catholic or Protestant?
No, I didn't.
And then you could have picked the other side.
Yeah.
There we go. You stand with the English chaps.
Sunday, Bloody Sunday, mother.
Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
So that
was he redhead? Was he redhead?
No. That definitely took the wind out of the sail. I mean, not that like Tracy said that. Hey, she goes, "You're an adult, so you're making adult decisions." So we'll see what happens. She definitely had some urgency in her voice that it needed or wanted to happen soon. So,
well, you could have a drinking buddy.
Well,
yeah,
that's a shot at the Irish right there.
Right.
By the way,
don't ever try out drinking.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like David B. I've seen him in action. I think
David's got enough Irish in him.
Take a swing at some of those Irishmen.
Yeah, as our
he probably could.
As our good friend Bob Keeler once said on one of our Cubs trips, he goes, I consider myself having a master's degree in consumption, and he goes, everybody on this bus, including you, has a doctorate degree in consumption. That's I'll stick with that. That's a pretty good assessment.
Well, congratulations, David.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, kind of. Not necessarily
How old is she?
As soon as we got off the 21, as soon as we got off the phone, Tracy's like, "No, this isn't a good idea. This isn't going to go well." But
and Tracy doesn't listen, so she won't know.
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit.
None of our wives listen.
No, yeah, I encourage them to listen, but they
listen to us too much. I think already.
When one of the very first shows we did, the profanity was worse than what it is today. And for those of you listening, the profanity isn't just thrown in profanity. It's based out of frustration, or it's based off of part of this thing.
It's not in the script.
If you get offended, sorry, that's just part of the show. But yeah, I mean, you just hope for the best. You just want them to make the right decisions, and
hopefully it'll work out.
Yeah. So, so the rest of the trip. So we were going to stay until Sunday, but we actually ended up coming back Saturday. And so before the show today, we always have this, we always talk about content that we ought to be talking about on the show. But coming back through Indy on Saturday afternoon, I told Tracy, I said, would you be mad if you dropped me off at the Great Divide coming back through and I'll just Uber home? And she goes, you can't go 5 days without a drink. I go, it's not.
Did you not have a drink while you're in West Virginia?
So as we have talked in the past, to me, drinking is a social activity.
Yep.
No offense to my lovely wife. She's not socially, we don't have that social connection of, hey, let's get a beer. I mean, outside of the house, yes. Inside of the home or together, not so much. I mean, Tracy might drink some wine, but I just don't, like, if I have a beer around her and it's at the home, it's just like, it just doesn't taste the same. It's not the same. I might drink one seriously. I just don't do it. For whatever reason.
I don't really drink at the house either.
I don't either.
Yeah,
although
socially,
some days she puts me in the mood that I should be drinking a lot. Somehow I don't.
Yes. So anyway, she goes, you can't go 5 days without having a drink. And I'm like, I just feel the need, to stop. And my good friend, or our good friend of the show, Brian Heaver, I'm like, I think I'm going to try to get Brian to meet me. And I mean, if he doesn't go or whatever, then I'm not interested. And so she goes, I'd really rather not. And I'm like, normally she doesn't give a shit. So I drove downtown anyway, and I saw they were closed. I figured they were closed anyway. So, but no Great Divide on the way home from West Virginia, but I did try to go. So to go there and have a few pops and then Uber home.
Yeah.
So how was the music on the way out and back?
So that's a really good question. It didn't. So I ran controls for a little while, and then it was mainly NPR. Just trying to. It was early in the morning. It was like 6 a.m. So Tracy took over, and it wasn't bad. It was like TTS music, so not too bad. There wasn't a bunch of, drive the Jeep, run over your husband, and back up and do it all over again or whatever music.
Yeah.
So it went all right. It went all right. Nothing. Yeah, it was. But it was honestly after the FaceTime, and it wasn't intentional. It was dead silence until we got to the cabin, just because we were both like.
So let me ask you,
right? All these thoughts going through your head.
So right before that phone call, did you happen to see Mothman?
Yeah,
to give you warning.
Oh man,
You're like, oh shit, something bad happened.
So that was right before. It was right before Mothman, so he missed his cue. That Point Pleasant, West Virginia, is a nice little. It's bigger than what I thought it was. A nice little spot in the road. There was a little super small state park in the town, Two-End-Away State Park, which has to do with the Revolutionary War stuff, the Indians,
really?
And it was a nice little Chief Cornstalk. Yeah, it was a nice little stop.
I wonder if he knows that was what the translation was.
Probably
it could have been some Indian name, and,
the
and they said,
Two-End-Away, I have no idea.
That translate to cornstalk, bud.
Cornstalk?
Yeah, hey, tell him it's Cornstalk.
Yeah,
dumbass doesn't know any different. Yeah, so yeah, it was a good trip. It was nice, quiet, maybe not necessarily, maybe a little quieter than what it should have been.
So did you do the driving? You guys switch off?
Yeah. No, hell no. I do the driving.
Okay.
So Tracy did offer, but no, I did the driving.
Yeah, I have to drive.
So one of the things that we did do coming back is, so their main gas station out there is Sheetz. Like we're here, it's like Speedway or Casey's. Out there, it's the Sheetz, and that's kind of like a Wawa and a Sheetz are kind of the same, where you go in and order your food and get your convenient stuff. And they were all fully stocked. Any truck stop we went to or any gas station, everything was pretty well fully stocked. So anyway, I told Tracy, I said, I always want to eat breakfast at one of these places and kind of people watch. She goes, we're not doing that. I go, but I want to do that. She goes, we're not doing that. And she likes their coffee. So coming home, I said, where do you want to get breakfast at? She goes, I see online that there's this Tudor's Biscuit World. And can we go there and get breakfast? I'm like, yep, we sure can. And in my head, I knew that they were drive-through only. So we go through there and she goes, we're not going inside. I go, it's drive-through only. I said, we're going to get the breakfast. And I said, we're going to go to Sheetz and get your coffee. That's where we're going to eat breakfast. So I kind of got what I wanted, eating breakfast at a gas station in West Virginia.
There you go, man.
Nice
there you
job.
go.
Yeah.
Some of them have good. The one in Rickers in town
yes.
here's got a good. They got a. People are lined up to eat their food. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Really?
I would growing up. Don't eat that gas station food. People are lined up to get their stuff. It's amazing.
It's fresh made. It's,
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the way
They have a grill back there and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where'd you say this is?
It's just down the street off 600 and
Rickers. Okay.
yeah, 652 here.
Wow.
But yeah, that's interesting because
So Sheetz is the same way. It's 24 hours.
Yeah.
And they got a big walk-in beer thing. You know, you're just, wow. I'm like, this is nice. So a good way to encourage drinking and driving. Go here and get all your beer, and
yeah,
that's cold beer. So it was a good trip. Yeah, it was a good trip.
Tony, do you know who the poorest person in West Virginia is?
no,
The Tooth Fairy.
Yes, boom.
because there's
well
there's a lot of money in it. That is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I did see a hillbilly kite one time.
A hillbilly kite?
I have a lot of relatives in Kentucky. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Was
in
it
my
a
life.
Confederate flag?
No. Here's what happened. So my cousin comes up, and he's from Ohio, but we all have relatives from Kentucky, and so it's called the hillbilly kite. Okay, so we're in my garage. Jake was a little boy. He's a painter. He's a real good painter. He's a union painter, so he comes over, does some union painting, paints the house, right? So we're in the garage late one night having some drinks. He likes to drink Canadian Mist. He's lit up a little bit. And we were getting ready to go fishing the next day. I'm not a big fisherman, but we were going to go to Brookville Lakes when I had my boat.
Is it fishing down there or is it fishing down there?
It's fishing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still a little bit more south than it would be. It would
right,
change.
right.
The dialect would change quite a bit.
Right.
It's probably actually, some may call it that down there. But so we're in the garage and it's about 11 o'clock. Jake's way past his bedtime at that time. He's probably like 5, 6. So he takes the thinnest fishing line that I had and he ties it around a June bug. And the June bug starts to fly away. And he goes, look, it's a hillbilly kite.
Oh, yeah, there you
And
go.
I just was on the floor laughing. And it was literally flying around as he's holding it.
Right, yeah.
I was like,
There we go.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I'm like, man, that's cruelty to species, man.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, what the heck? It was funny and crap, though.
That is good.
The
That's
hillbilly
good.
kite.
Yeah, good story. Good
I like it.
story. Yeah. So I think I know I have other stuff, but right off I'm kind of drawing a blank. I'll go into a quick random thought.
Yeah, let's do. You want to do random thoughts?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll do random thoughts with David B. David B's random thoughts.
One of the professions in life that's always baffled me is the profession of being a college coach.
Yeah, big time.
Somebody, which job would you two prefer? The Notre Dame job or the Louisiana State job, the LSU job? I mean,
Can I go
which job
first?
would be more attractive? Yeah, Tony B. Yeah, go right ahead.
Actually thought about this a little bit. I saw a little ticker on ESPN.
I thought I originated this.
Well,
It's not.
it wasn't in the form that you asked it. It was just a ticker of some sports guys debating on the move going there. It wasn't really which would you take, but it made me think like, God dang, you're the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame, right? The requirements are a lot harder. You know, I'd rather be the Notre Dame coach, I think, because I think if you go to, nothing against LSU could win the national championship next year. He could win 3 in a row, maybe. Who knows? But
or he could have the same fate as Rich Rod and tank it fucking completely.
Exactly. Because here's the big thing, because it's a good question, because to me, even more so today, it would be Notre Dame because of what's going to happen to the SEC. I mean, you got Texas moving in. Texas is a powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? They're going to steal recruits,
Oklahoma.
man. and Oklahoma moving into the SEC. I think LSU slips a little bit, because they're like if you were to you got really the powers there are what? Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, and LSU are usually the ones that are the dominant ones in there, right? Pretty much. So,
and then you might have Florida here and there.
Well, Florida, I'm glad. Yeah, Florida too. Yeah,
and then you'll have some years where Tennessee or somebody, but annually it's always
it's usually Georgia, one of those or
Alabama,
or Florida.
Auburn's up and down, but
right. Florida's like the Michigan of the Big Ten, right? Where they'll have some good years and some bad years, But anyways, I just think that makes the SEC recruiting that much more challenging. Mm-hmm. So, plus I don't give a shit. I want good kids. I want good quality kids. Not that LSU's getting bad quality, but I mean, you got some gray area kids there that are being recruited. There's
no gray area at Notre Dame.
Yeah, there is none. Lou Holtz got away with some of it, but
he got away with 2.
Yeah. That's probably the most anybody's gotten away with. So, thought Kelly was a good coach, though. I thought he really returned that. It usually takes, if you see it historically, and that's what's going to happen now, it usually takes the 3rd or 4th head coach at Notre Dame before they succeed. Once they lose their good one. So if you go back every time at Newt Rockne, it took 3 coaches, Leahy, to get it back. Then it took 4 coaches, Dan Devine. And then it took, if I'm saying, I don't know if the succession's right, but then it took Lou Holtz. They went through all those.
I think Faust was in there somewhere.
Yeah. They took, and I think there might have been a couple more.
What, Parseghian?
Parseghian was in the 70s, right?
Or late or mid-60s.
Like
He
did good.
Though.
Yeah, he did good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But usually it takes a couple of those coaches to cycle through to get it right. So, and the thing I liked about Kelly is he was Irish, right? And they had the Irish guy. So, Matt, what would you do?
To me, this would not be that complicated. When you throw in the fact that on this one single point, he's getting paid 3 times what he's getting paid.
That's true. That's true.
You pay me 3 times marry an ugly fat girl, I'll do it. Yeah. I mean, so I don't. This isn't complicated. You're getting paid 3 times.
You got more flexibility.
Now, it's a whole different conversation if you're saying dollar for dollar, it's the same job, right? Because then I think you can say, well, I would probably rather be at Notre Dame than LSU. But because here's the thing. At Notre Dame always carries a big name. They don't play in a conference. They do play kind of a on and off schedule with part of the ACC, but the ACC minus Clemson for the most part is pretty
really
weak.
Nothing. Yep.
They play the standard Stanford USC. And USC. So and those teams
they'll play Michigan
typically up and down.
Michigan
State. I think that you've always it's like coming in this weekend. Actually, they have a pretty good shot. An outside shot, but a pretty good shot, Notre Dame, to slipping in because they're not playing any conference championship game today. If Alabama loses today, which probably is going to happen, should happen anyway. Yep. Alabama's out. And then they're probably, Oklahoma State, if they win, they're probably going to jump I think they already jumped Notre Dame. They're probably going to move from 5 into that spot. But it's not out of the realm that Cincinnati could lose today. And if Cincinnati loses, then Notre Dame's the next team in.
Here's what I was going to say to that because, first, I had a question, but I'll say the second one first. Cincinnati could lose today because that team they're playing, Houston's pretty good.
Yeah, Houston hasn't lost a game since their opening game against Texas Tech.
But let me ask you guys this. If you're a Notre Dame junior, right? You're a junior at Notre Dame. Things were looking good for you. Your head coach is now left. How pumped up are you for the bowl game? How pumped up are you?
Well, I guess it just depends. If you can make it to that,
why do they allow
if they somehow slip into the 4, they're motivated now, regardless of who the coach is. But I guess I get your point. If for some reason they're left on the outside, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of times that says something about the players if you can't get up for a game. Now, maybe I could see if you just came off a loss and you felt like Alabama, for example. If Alabama loses today and they fall outside that top 4, they're so used to playing for championships every year that you could just see kind of a natural letdown, right? Like in some of their players that could be going pro,
but Matt, they may
not play in whatever X bowl game.
But they still got their head coach. You don't.
True.
You don't have your head coach. My point is, I guess I should parlay it into the point is, I don't know why they allow them to announce it during the season. Like,
I agree. I think that there should have been a handshake deal behind us to say, hey. Well, I mean, LSU probably more than likely said you're going to have to leave right now. I think.
Do you blame it on the school or the coach or the
I don't know that I necessarily blame it on anybody. I mean, I know it has a bad look to it, but if you put it in the view of anybody, your job, Dave's job, any Joe Blow job out here that nobody gives a shit about. If somebody's going to pay you 3 times the salary and you, for whatever reason, at your job and in your field of work, you were getting ready to do, you were on the cusp of doing the most important thing for your company.
Right.
And you were an integral part of this, whatever was going on with your field. Mm-hmm. And somebody said, I'm going to pay you 3 times, but you got to come over right now and leave what you're doing, even though it was important. I don't know too many people are passing up 3 times the salary to take that opportunity. So, and I understand we're talking about something that's got a lot of eyes on it. People think of it more from a sports standpoint. People are passionate about sports. But if you, and not that I'm the biggest Brian Kelly fan, because I think already he's kind of, you see what he's doing down here in LSU. I don't know if you saw, he's like changing his accent already, trying to sound like a Southerner, which he's not doing a very good job of.
I think if he would have tried that at Alabama, they would have fucking roasted his ass.
So I'm not saying that this guy's like the greatest guy. I'm just looking at it from any coach, anywhere. You're getting paid 3 times the salary, and that you would hope that place that is hiring you would let you finish out to finish the season with Notre Dame and keep that under the cuff that nobody knows about it, which I don't know if you could have kept something that large of a secret quiet. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't blame him. It doesn't mean that I got to root for LSU or root for him or anybody. But, and, from what I hear, he wasn't that popular with most of the players, and that most of the players really like this coach a lot more anyway.
Yeah, that's what
so it's possible that they kind of come together under this, know, and really rally around this new coach, especially if they get a shot to get into this Final Four.
Yeah. What about you, David? What would you do?
So I was, before I listened to Matty Ice's explanation, I was definitely on the fence of being loyal to where I was, my current employer and stuff, but not even putting together the fact that I was going to get 3 times my salary.
Yeah.
So, that definitely, I mean, if I got offered 3 times my salary today, to leave today, I'd be like, yep, see ya.
Well,
bye.
And I think,
just the mystique of the Notre Dame and, I don't know if mystique's the right word, but I mean, just the story tradition.
And I just don't know that there's a good way, if in that case, I'm assuming LSU told him, you got to come. You got to leave.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
And so for him, it put him, again, I'm not defending him because I don't necessarily think he's probably the greatest person on the planet, but it puts him in a tough spot. How do you have that conversation with your team?
It's very difficult.
It lasted like 4 minutes, and people gave that a bunch of shit too. But
right.
I mean, what's he supposed to say? And do they even really want to hear from him?
Probably not.
Probably not. So there's not a good way to walk out of that situation. There's just no good way to walk out of it. It's like breaking up. It's like having a divorce. Is there any good way of just walking out of that deal? You're saying, hey, no. I'm leaving. I don't know that there's a good way to walk out of that.
Let's get a Notre Dame player online for next week.
Yeah, there we do. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
But it may just be we're seeing the turn in college football where due to the pay coming in, the paying the players, the money coming in, LSU's probably going to be able to be more more creative financially.
Right.
Well,
and they talk
we
about,
may just be seeing the change right now where the traditional schools like Notre Dame's going to suffer.
And part of it might be, it's the recruiting part of college football, college sports, but college basketball and college football, especially that's probably LSU's thought process. It's like, I can't let you wait until January 8th to come on board if for some reason you do make the Final Four, because over the next month and a half, the recruiting right now is so important. We currently don't have Ed Orgeron is gone.
Right.
We don't have a football coach. How do we recruit in a time that's so important?
Yeah.
If we don't have a head coach, we're going to miss out on a lot of players, and that's going to affect the next year or two just by us not recruiting over the next month and a half. So I don't really put blame at anybody on this. It's just an ugly situation. But again, getting 3 times your salary, going from whatever he was making, 12, whatever his contract was like $3 million a year, and I don't know how many more years he had left, but now that they're going to pay him, a little over, I think it was like $9.5 million for a 10-year contract. So he's guaranteed $95 million. Wow.
LSU.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say no to that.
Well, because here's what he got, right? So I looked it up. I pulled it up.
Didn't they like pay for his house or something on a loan on his house?
6-figure bonuses.
Yeah.
6-figure bonuses, 2 cars, $1.2 million house. Flying him around on private jets. Contract, while Kelly's contract will pay him $95 million total in base salary, the longevity of bonus will put his total compensation to at least over $100 million for 10 years.
You think about it, and this is all state paid, right?
Yes.
This is taxpayer money that's paying him.
That's what
I
and
was
this is in a
too.
state that traditionally is not what you would consider a
Rich state.
Yeah, a rich state.
$9 million per year, and it will rise throughout until
And
2031.
not you want to talk about like education and stuff, but I think Louisiana is usually like towards the bottom in like education, and not that I'm a big proponent just throwing a bunch of cash at education that solves stuff. But with that being said, it obviously you can see the priorities of Louisiana is college football.
Right. Yeah. Could you imagine if like there was a line item in the budget for something of that equivalent dollar amount that really didn't matter, like for equipment, for this or that, people lose their
If you
mind.
look at it, and I'm pretty sure that for I think I just saw this a few years ago, but I think the highest paid state employee, except for a handful of states, is either your college football or your college basketball head coach. That's your highest paid employee in the state.
Yeah, I looked it up. Louisiana is according to Worldview and Report, according to Stacker.com,
Dated when?
February 16th, 2021, February 11th, 2020, Mississippi, West Virginia, then Louisiana.
Starting from the bottom up.
Yeah. Louisiana, Mississippi number 1, West Virginia number 2.
I'm pretty sure
Louisiana.
West Virginia pays a lot for their football coach and basketball. Bob Huggins getting paid probably a pretty penny.
Yeah.
probably.
Dana Holgerson going back to the Houston. That's who coaches Houston now or whatever. He was at Notre Dame, or excuse me, at West Virginia right before the current coach that they have. So he left.
Hey, that's interesting.
Just to go to Houston, probably a little bit more money.
Who's the most educated states, would you think?
Connecticut, New York.
Maryland, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont, most based on the most with bachelor's degrees and graduation degrees and graduation rate. The 10 least, West Virginia, Mississippi, Louisiana, everybody's got them there. Arkansas, Alabama, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Nevada, Indiana ranked. Where the hell did we rank? Doesn't have it on here. But anyways, we're not in the worst or the top. So, but
Yay!
Yeah, hey, we're average. Yeah.
yay for being average.
How about them Boilermakers last night beating Iowa?
Yeah, what was fun? I didn't see that.
77-70.
Oh, so they
I didn't watch any of it either.
line,
They
though.
didn't start till 9 o'clock. I'm like, damn it.
I tell you what.
Pacers got their asses handed to them again last night.
Purdue is having a really good year in sports. I mean, their football team's not bad either. And, not
I hear
bad,
Purdue's going to
man.
be number 1. Is that what
it should be.
Duke got beat earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Who beat Duke? Who was it?
Oh, it was Ohio State.
It was Ohio State beat them. Yeah, by like 3 or 4
Yeah.
points, right?
Yeah, it
Big
was
Ten
big
ACC
upset.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big win for Ohio State, who was not ranked.
No.
It's unbelievable.
No.
You're right. Yeah. So Purdue will be the new number one.
So no, another thing about LSU's is probably I am more of I like warm temperature more than cold weather.
Yeah.
I can playing a South Bend night game in early November.
Oh, yeah.
does
I've done
not
it.
does
Been
not
there.
interest me at all. Sitting on the sidelines, and if it was early November down in the bayou,
Yeah,
or
it'd be
however they
different.
say
The
it
Raging
down there.
Cajuns, right?
Yeah, I could probably handle
It'd be
that
fun.
temperature a little bit
It'd be a
better.
little bit more fun, probably, coach down there too, right? But so I see what you're saying, because I think the more you think about it, it's a shift in the college football world with this pay thing. It's just like the USC coach going to USC and saying he was going to create the mecca of all football because he knows he's going to have the money in LA.
I heard he gets 2 homes.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'll look him
Whoever
up.
was at Oklahoma.
yeah,
Now
he
he's
left
at
Oklahoma.
USC.
Oh. Yep.
What? Yeah, that guy.
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah,
Nobody
Lincoln
knew.
Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, see, that's a private school,
Yes,
right?
yes.
USC. So that money is probably coming out of what? I don't know. They're paying it somehow,
Gotta
but it could be a lot
university.
of and
Your alumni.
yeah,
or-
alumni is probably fronting a lot of that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I was trying
OJ kicked in a few bucks.
OJ gave him a dirty glove.
That's
Yeah.
right.
In case it goes bad, here's a glove for you.
But
How
don't-
would you like to hang out? Well, I feel like hanging out with OJ would be kind of fun.
yeah.
Having
Yeah,
a few
the
drinks,
right-
because I
yeah.
think he likes to drink and party a little bit.
Where are all the white women at?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he got 10 million plus a year. 10 million a year.
For those of you that are offended, sorry.
Yeah.
This
Is it
this
too soon?
show. It's,
Hey,
too
you know
soon.
what? The man
It's
was found
too
innocent.
soon.
He's 38.
And he did win a Heisman, so let's give him a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Norm MacDonald, who passed away recently, used to rag on him all the time and actually got fired from Saturday Night Live because the
he
president of NBC was friends with OJ.
Yeah.
And
Kept giving him too much shit on
yeah,
there.
and
Yeah, I
then
saw that.
And he finally called him and said, dude, come to my office. You're not funny. And Norm's like, what do you mean I'm not funny?
Yeah.
And then Letterman had him on the next night.
Yeah.
And Letterman had his run-ins with the guy. And he didn't want to mention the name.
And Letterman did, I
Letterman
think.
just goes, yeah. And then he goes, well, so what do you think? And he goes, well, he seems like a nice guy. And then Letterman's like, he's not a nice guy. He's a jackass. And then Letterman just rips on him. And then Norm's like, well, I'm gonna agree with you, David. They're still paying me.
Yeah.
But so anyway. So the random thoughts. Do you have anything else?
We can
Go ahead.
Yeah, we can keep talking about what I just real quick here. I wanted to interject for those of you that have been in this industry for a long time, and if any of you know Larry McAtee, he's got, I guess he's pretty ate up with cancer now, and maybe it doesn't have too long to maybe still be around. I got a text from a member of his family, and then a phone call from a mutual friend last night that saying he's not doing well.
Wow,
What our
sorry to
thoughts
hear
are
that, man.
Yeah, I hate
with
to hear
Larry
that.
McAtee and his family. Just a great guy over the years. I mean, he's got that deep booming voice, and he would always be the one cooking the steaks at the steak fry for the traffic club. Such a good dude. I remember a story. I went down there. This is
Who
I was
did he work
teetering.
for?
When I first met Larry, he was working for J&J Transportation, kind of one of the consolidators based out of Indianapolis. I think he's an old CF dude.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's CF. And down at the traffic club, he'd always be the one cooking steaks. And I was teetering on being 21 at the time. I'm not sure if I was actually 21 just yet. I was teetering around there, and I was super fucking skinny back then, real thin. And I still lived at home with my parents in Colfax, and so the traffic club, the steak fries used to be down at German Park, which is on the south side of Indy. So anyway, I be there with them, and I wasn't drinking beer at the time. I would drink all hard stuff, and McAtee'd be like, "Boyles, get over here. How do you want your steak?" And I'd be like, I'd go to answer. He goes, I don't give a shit how you want it. You're going to get it any goddamn way I give it to you. Just a good dude. I mean, just a good booming personality. Just a good man. Boom. He's just, he's going to
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah. He's going to be missed or whatever. So hopefully he gets through this, but just a good guy. I mean, that's the way the freight world is. I mean, it still is that way a little bit. I just wish it was more like that, like it used to be, but yeah, our thoughts are with Larry McAtee and his family. He's such a good guy. Yeah. I don't want to end the show on that. I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, I hate to hear that.
Yeah, so good guy. Really good guy.
Man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
We're getting older and this type of stuff starts happening, so.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
so are you guys New Year's Eve guys? I'm not.
I do not go out on New Year's Eve.
No, I call that
kind of an amateur night.
Yeah, that's amateur night. Yeah. Those are the people that haven't been drinking all night or haven't been drinking all year and then go out and give us people that know how to drink a bad name.
So what do you guys think is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but what do you guys think is the biggest drinking night of the year as far as bars are concerned?
Boy, that's a good question. You know the answer?
I do know the
answer.
I
think it's...
I need a second to think about this.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I think it's before Thanksgiving.
Just say wrong or
right. You're exactly right.
Really?
Thanksgiving Eve.
Is it?
I think it's the night before.
Yeah, good job.
Hell, that's actually called Hell Night.
Is it?
And that's, I'm not.
My guess was going to be the Super Bowl.
Oh.
But you know what?
That's a good guess, too.
The problem with... this is another thing that bugs me about Super Bowl because they always give there's 2 weeks off, right, from the AFC or NFC championship game, and then you've got 2 weeks. And my thought is, if you're going to give them 2 weeks, why not move that game to Saturday night? Either two things. One, either make Monday a national holiday, which in my opinion they're never going to do. If they're not going to do it, you got 2 weeks off, move it to Saturday night to where people can actually enjoy themselves and not feel like shit the next day. Because what you end up is a lot of people end up taking off Monday anyway, or they come in and are just piss poor, productive. There's no point in it even having that day.
I think it's,
And I know that Saturday night, I think traditionally is the worst time to have something on TV because people are doing stuff. But what people would be doing would be tied to the Super Bowl. Because people are partying anyway. So the party would be tied around the Super Bowl. So you're still going to have those TVs on. Now, whether or not, I mean, it's the same thing with any Super Bowl party. The game is on and probably half the people in there aren't even paying attention or even really care because it's just an excuse to get together to party. Put it on Saturday night. It's not that hard.
Or the people that are paying attention aren't paying attention until the commercials come on. Oh,
that's the best commercial.
Yeah. So, and I get it. Like if there was only 1 week in between, you'd be taking a day away from preparation. I could see you're kind of playing on a short week for the biggest game of the year, but you're giving them 2 weeks. Move the game to Saturday night.
But that and expand the college football playoff, right? So like a team like Cincinnati doesn't get screwed. That's undefeated. If they win,
aren't we at 8 teams now?
No, we're at 4 still. And I like 8, but I guess they're talking about going to 12 and giving some buys.
They should do that.
Like the 12 or the 8?
Well, 12. I'm for that because. Go ahead, David.
No. Go. You finish first. I just have
because I just want to. If you make it 12, because here's my biggest problem with college football, and you saw it this season, and it's part of the reason why Michigan, I think, started off well in the season. I mean, they're playing Eastern Michigan and Bowling Green. They're 4-0 heading to the Big Ten. I mean, Ohio State goes out and plays Oregon first game of the season.
Right.
So what I'm saying is Indiana, the way they started was not good for their season. I mean, play number 2 ranked Iowa, right?
And how they finished wasn't good for their season because they only won 2 games.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So let's get out of the non-conference games. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think Michigan starting heading in 4-0. I'll tell you that much. So let's get out of the non-conference games. And if you really, truly want to do that, and if you got to end the Michigan-Ohio State game at the end of the year to accomplish that, then do it.
Yeah, that's good. I agree with that. I'm going to go back and touch on Matty Ice's point a little bit. I've always said that with the Super Bowl. I think it should be played on a Saturday. And then to add to that, in my opinion only, to me, the 4th of July should be an observed holiday, and it should always be the first Friday in July for that, so people can enjoy the
Friday
weekend.
Would be great.
So it could be a nice 3-day weekend. Don't put it on a Monday because people still have to get up and go to work on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Put it on a Friday.
It's a big holiday. It's my favorite holiday of the year.
Yeah, I wonder why they always do that on all the holidays that are observed, like Memorial Day, Labor Day.
Right.
They always do Monday.
Yeah.
Why somebody along the way didn't say we're always going to make that Friday instead of Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good
You
point.
would think from a production and efficiency point, it would be better to have it on the Friday.
Right.
Because the Monday you're going to start slow. No work. Tuesday catching up.
Why is Thanksgiving the only observed holiday that's on a Thursday, Friday, or whatever? To me,
probably because it happened so long ago that. But no, I think on that we were just talking about on the college football. So here's how I would do it. I would go back to the old so they have the people in the room that make the decisions now on the top four. And it's just
kind of
it's top four people.
Yep.
The problem I feel like the problem most people had with the old BCS system, which was a computer. Now there was a part of that was people involved, but
coaches.
it was a small part of the percentage. Mm-hmm. Most of it was computer driven. My biggest problem with BCS was the fact that it was only 2 teams. But when the BCS did the actual rankings and it said 1 through 10, it was like pretty you could look at it and you'd say that's pretty accurate. So my problem wasn't with how they ranked them. It was a problem. It was 2. I'd like to see them go back to the old ranking, have 8 teams. And what I would say is there's no automatic bids from conference. We're going to take the top 8 teams based on the BCS. And you know what? If you're Pac-12 and your top teams got 3 losses, I'm sorry. They just don't get in. I'm not having automatic bids. And then the last caveat I'd put in this is that at the end of the season, at the end of the last regular season game, or like today, if there's a conference championship game, if your team, and let's say Cincinnati, we'll use them as an example, they're undefeated. If for some reason after the games today, you have an undefeated team that is still outside the top 8, they will play the following weekend against the 8th ranked team at the 8th ranked team's home field for right of the 8th spot. So in other words, I would never have an undefeated team not have an opportunity to get into the top 8. Because if you're going to allow an undefeated team not to have a chance within your tournament, then you might as just well say at the beginning of the season that these conferences
aren't allowed.
We're not going to have them participate in this because it's unfair to have an undefeated team like we had UCF a few years ago. They went undefeated.
Florida,
They went undefeated all the way through and never had a chance to play anybody. Now, do I think they'd have won? No, but they should have had an opportunity to play.
I think Boise State did too one time.
Yeah, so that's how I would do it. Is I would say it's a top 8. BCS is going to rank it. If there happens to be, and probably most of the time you're not going to have an undefeated team fall outside, but if you do, there's an opportunity for them to get in.
Because you can't do like a true college basketball style, right? Because what I just pulled up, because this has always been my argument of why they should expand it, is if you look at the number 1 college basketball team heading into the tournament, that's not usually the one that wins it. Yeah. So for football, that was my problem with the BCS is don't give those 2, fully knowing that if you had to go play Oregon or Ohio State, that might be a different outcome to that. So because the SEC is always favored because the games are always played in the South, right? They've always got the crowd. That's why I like having what we did in Indianapolis when we host these events. You see the Midwest have better success in some of these events, than you would for football. Going to play just like Notre Dame when USC won't play Notre Dame after September in Notre Dame.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's because they know if they go in November, they're going to get their ass beat.
Right.
It's going to be freezing. Yeah. Right. So Notre Dame will always travel there when they rotate. Right.
Right.
So they'll never play them. It's usually one of the first 2 games in the season. They used to play them.
It was always the last game, wasn't it?
Well, it was but if it's the last game, it's in Southern Cal. It usually that last it's never
right.
It's
but
usually,
I think if you going back maybe 15, 20 years ago,
here.
I think it was always
the last game. It may have been for the contract they were under those years.
Yeah. But Yeah, I get, but I think 8 would probably do it. You're always going to have the team that's just on the outside, whether you're talking, it's 68 teams now, I think in the 64, because they do like the 4 outside. I don't know, I forget what they call that, but whether you're the 69th team, the 3rd team out, the 9th team out, somebody's always going to have a bitch or complaint to it. But in my opinion, if you take 8 in college football, and as long as you don't leave out an undefeated team, could your 9th team have a bitch? I guess they could, but I'm saying as long as you're taking the top 8. Now, if you have 8 and you're going to say conference get automatic bids, then I have a problem with maybe the 9th team being left out, because you could actually have, if you're doing automatic bids and you're taking the top 8, then you could literally have a team maybe that's ranked 5th left out because they got a couple of automatic bids that are ranked like 13th or 18th that end up jumping over them to have a shot. That's why I don't like that. If you go the true top 8 and don't leave out an undefeated team, to me, I think that works.
Yeah, I agree.
So go ahead, Dave.
The NAIA, which is like the lowest level of college football, they take 16. So I mean, why is it that they can get it?
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily saying
they all
right,
figure it out, except for Division One, and maybe
the bowl games.
They're slowly maybe getting, but you can still have all these stupid ass bowl games.
I know. I don't think they can connect it right.
Yeah,
so.
to me, you make more money going this route.
And the championship is in Indianapolis this year. So, and that'll be good. And Indy does a really good job.
Oh, it's great, man.
Awesome.
It's a great city for it. People always that come for those events always compliment the city on how accommodating it is.
They always do a great job with everything. Super Bowl,
But I'd like to see that too. The thing is, sometimes I wonder if they should even have conferences.
Well, and I think, there's a lot of money in these conference championships to game, and they're never going to get rid of those. But see, I have the same problem in college basketball. With college basketball, you'll have one of these small conferences, which I think the small ones are what makes the whole thing
the Gonzagas
go.
of the world.
But then when you've got like I don't know, Hofstra wins their conference, and they're 23-1, right?
Slippery Rock.
But then they go into their conference championship game and they lose it to Monmouth or whoever
and
it
they're
is,
out.
and they're out. Yeah. If they want to give an automatic bid, give the automatic bid to who wins the regular season.
Well,
and then they can still have their conference championship. I'm sorry, I'm not going to have Monmouth, who is 13-14, that's going to get into the tournament and knock out Hofstra just because they got hot for a few games in a conference tournament.
Right. Well, this is the I listened to Dan Patrick's show, and he didn't say this exactly like this, but he was alluding to the fact that the influence that some of these people that pick have. So it led me. What they were really alluding to is like an Alabama could have 2 losses, maybe even 3. And they would still get picked to be, over a 9-1 Baylor.
Yeah, and that's why I like the old BCS,
because it wouldn't do that.
Would never rank Alabama that high, because it would see it for what it is and not the mystique that everybody's got in their head about.
And the puzzling thing to me this year is they got them ranked. They still got them in there, right? And if they lose, but the thing is, I looked at their schedule and I'm like.
Yeah, they didn't play
anybody.
No.
They didn't play a damn.
And SEC West that they're in really was down. I mean, LSU was horrible.
I know.
Horrible, and they're usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Texas A&M was probably the best team, and they're traditionally not that great.
Not that good, yeah.
Or, Ole Miss might have a higher rank, but Ole Miss, Mississippi State, I mean, none of these teams were that good this year in the West, but Alabama... And what they barely beat Auburn, who was down.
Yeah.
And who was the game? I can't remember who they. Yeah, A&M beat them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And A&M might have 4
I
losses.
hope they lose today, because I get being from the Midwest. I get so sick of these SEC schools getting so much publicity. I mean, ESPN. I'm watching a Notre Dame game, right, and they can't even call them the Fighting Irish anymore. Like it's the Irish. Right. 5 years ago, it's like the Fighting Irish down to the 5-yard line. Now it's like the Irish from Notre Dame. It's like, man, what is that? Is it Fighting Irish racist? Is that what the hell is
There's
that?
probably somebody that got their butt hurt about it.
I feel like Irish and and Italians still. They're still okay to make fun of. I feel like they're one of the few groups you can.
Yeah. You can get away with it.
Technically, if it's done, do you guys, either one of you watch or know who Russell Peters is?
No.
Russell Peters is of Indian descent. He's from Canada, but of Indian descent. He'll roast the fuck out of everybody.
I have seen him. Yes.
And do it in a way that's just like, you people know you're idiots or whatever, but just does it so well to people shouldn't be getting hurt about it. He probably would never come to Indy. He goes to like Chicago and all the bigger cities and stuff, but he is so good. If you ever get a chance, watch a YouTube video of Russell Peters. He'll just he'll go after gays, whoever. He'll go after everybody.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Is that a shoehorn on your desk?
Oh, right there? No, that's a back scratcher.
That's a back scratcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we want to? It's probably not a good idea that we inventory what's on the desk, but there is a thing of Vaseline that's right there.
That's for my legs.
That's
for my legs.
That's with the back scratcher. How far does that back scratcher go down?
It's for my it's for my dry legs.
So earlier you mentioned
the Vaseline or the back scratcher? Okay.
I think we got that for my daughter when her foot was in a cast.
Oh.
the Vaseline or the back scratcher.
The back scratcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Dan Patrick Show earlier. To me, that is
he's my favorite guy in sports.
The sports radio.
Oh,
show.
yeah.
My opinion.
And the way ESPN did, those guys were dirty. Man.
I mean, that's why that's what I want us to be. That is that show.
Yeah.
The Dan Patrick Show is.
Yeah, exactly.
Best.
If you want to listen.
That good.
Yeah, because if I want to hear,
Pat McAfee's good too.
I watch that a lot. He is pretty good. I didn't like Skip Bayless calling him.
He's got awful. Skip Bayless is awful.
He's a douche. He used to be a Chicago Tribune writer.
The last 2 days,
he's contrarian on everything.
Yeah,
you say it's he's clearly sunny. He'd say it's cloudy.
Well, didn't he say he was like a starting basketball player in college, and then someone researched that and found out that
he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he's only like 120 years old. It's probably they don't have that even.
I tell you what, though, I like Shannon Sharp on that show, though. Shannon Sharp's a good dude.
Marcellus Wiley does a good job.
Oh, that's a great one. I love that show.
Who's the gentleman with Marcellus?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a
really
good dude. Yeah. He wears his suits too tight, though.
I'm sure he's not wearing them for us.
No, I know. Actually, a funny story. I watch that show a lot. It's one of my favorite. So I commented one night after the show. It was one of the first ones to comment. And I said, Marcellus, can you tell old boy that his suit looks extremely tight? You look really good, dude, by the way. And then they responded back, and they say that's how he likes him, man. He's in the younger generation. He likes him skin tight, man. I think he's trying to show off his muscles. It was Marcellus who responded, and he goes, thanks for the comment. And then everybody started hitting on it. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So, Matty Ice, do you ever listen to Dan Patrick? Are you not a fan,
I do usually on Dan, it's usually if I'm watching it on TV. Typically, I hardly. I'm always working at my computer, and then I always have on some kind of sports radio typically. But usually for me, it's always like the local morning guys, which is now was it Kevin? Oh crap, I can't remember. And Jake Query, and then usually that rolls into Mike Greenberg, which I don't mind. Mike Greenberg.
I used to like Greeny. I really don't care for him anymore. He is. Yeah, that's why I always liked him. I used to like one of the best shows was Mike and Mike.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was really
bomb.
good.
Yeah,
I don't know why they split it up.
It rolls into Dan Dockich, and it rolls into JMV.
They got into it.
That's usually just what I listen to.
Got into it. I think they just grew tired of one another.
Yeah, because I like Golick better than I liked. Greenberg. I actually funny story real quick. Steve Micrometal.
Steve Sold.
His sister went to college with Greenberg
at Northwestern.
At Northwestern.
Oh, Greenberg. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Golick went to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was telling me about it.
So, do you like Dockage? I can't do that.
I can't listen to local shit.
I
don't like it.
The only complaint I have on him is he gets stuck on stuff and just won't get off of it. That's what drives me crazy about him. Isn't so much as opinion, because a lot of times, a lot of these shows try to be opinionated on stuff, but have a new opinion something, a new subject today.
Yeah.
It's always, Grigson is, awesome. And I know he's trying to fire up people locally. And that's all right to have that take. I mean, you can make a good argument on the stuff that he's had on that.
Yeah.
But I don't need to hear it every day how Grigson's better than Ballard. It's just, again, I don't have a problem with the opinion. Just I don't need to hear it every day, and he's got a couple others that he just leans on just can't get off the thought process. Other than that, I don't have a problem with him. He's entertaining just because he's always fired up about something. I like JMV a lot. He's on after Dockage.
Oh, I love JMV. JMV was kind enough when I first started doing golf outings for the Indiana School for the Blind, more than kind enough to have me on the show and promote the outing, and he did it.
That's cool.
His mom was a teacher, so anything that has to do with schools. Matter of fact, he runs he has every fall he has a golf outing. Oh, nice. JMV sucks golf outing, and all those. All the money from that goes to, I don't know, some kind of teacher association type thing. So,
do we have time for one more question, like the main question I had for today? Or
let's do it, man.
We got all day, guys. It's Saturday, right?
Well, I got to get going here shortly, though. I got Christmas lights.
But you still got 3.
The sun shining.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about. We'll start with Tony on this one. Let's talk about your average day, Tony. Your average day, you get up, and how does it start based on work? Based on, all right, this is about the time you think you're going to start working a day.
Or not a weekend day.
Yes, a work day. Mm-hmm. And then when does your day end, and how has that changed over the years? I know that's a lot there.
Yeah, no.
And not necessarily for the better, maybe for the worse or whatever.
Okay, keep in mind your boss is listening.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I get up, I put on my slippers.
It's a good question.
Get on the street about 3:30.
Usually get up about 6:30, and I kind of do some solace time, and I don't do anything right away. I do look at my phone to see what I got to do. Before I load up the computer, that's the first thing I do actually is I come down and I look at my phone and I'm like, okay, I see stuff from you. And then, cause your hours.
That answers at 1 a.m. because he doesn't have the phone next to him.
Yeah. Cause your hours, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I'll get the coffee going. Usually Ann's up early. She's got it going or she might be gone, and then it's immediately into the computer, man, and looking to see now if I've got to get out of the house right away because I got a large territory. Usually I won't get on the computer because I know I'll never leave in time. So usually 7:30 to 8, I'm either headed out, going to the first call, depending on where it's at. And then, but it's kind of changed. That was the everyday mode years ago, right? Is boom, you're out of the house. There weren't as many emails. There weren't as many complications or issues going on. Today, it seems like it's weird. I was talking to some people about it. They have the same attitude. I grew up in this industry, get out and get on the street. And if you're not, you're a bum. That's kind of, you're not working, right? That was the thought. Today, if you go out, like I was out, when was this, Thursday, I had to go to the terminal. And man, and I think you and I met. And then it's just like 2 conference calls. It's like you're getting, 30, 40 emails that are action item emails, not just you're copied in on some stupid stuff. It's, hey, need this, need that. So now when you're out in sales, I seem more pressured to get back to the computer as quick as I can to resolve those issues.
The customer service issues.
Yeah, exactly.
There should be customer service people coming.
There should be, but I think they're just bogged down, man, that these issues start coming because you don't get your answer, you're coming to me. And so I get a lot of that. And I just think it's shifted a little bit, but I see, to be honest, it's kind of, I've been able to get out more lately. And,
you mean within the last month or
probably, I always went out more than probably most that work with me, work for my company, and most that I know that are reps, because I can't stand sitting in front of the damn computer all day. I'd rather bore you to death and talk to you all afternoon, you know what I mean? And work something out, but instead of being locked in front of a cubicle. But I guess there is good to it. I've gotten better administratively, I think. There was a lot of rollouts they did that was good that we were home. But I guess my point is I felt pressured to get out on the street back in the old days. Today, I feel pressure to get back to the computer and fix those issues.
Well, back in the old days, you had customer service people at your terminal.
Tons of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
so is it better now or is it worse now? I mean, as far as, your role as a sales rep for, the corporation you work for.
As my role, you mean, is it?
It's just like your everyday, your day-to-day. I mean, is your day-to-day better or is it worse because it's longer hours, where you start it?
I think it's, I don't mind the work. I think it's just busier, and that's a good thing. I think it's just busier, and I'm working later. I'm doing things later at night, doing some things, getting up early and doing some things first thing in the morning.
So you do answer me at 1 a.m. occasionally.
Yeah, I have. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's just been a weird, and it's not going to end, I think till the second quarter of 2022, they say. So this type of environment, but I think it goes back to there's, you and I had this side conversation earlier in the week. There's not as much space out there in the LTL industry that there once was. There's not as many carriers. So, I mean, it's all going to just go to us, Matt, right? And we're jammed up. And I mean, I was at the terminal and I looked on the dock and I mean, it's busy, man. It's busy. And all you can do is fight it every day. It seems like it's kind of a get up and fight through the day in a good way and try to maintain those issues. So it's changed a little bit. It seems like it's gotten back to where, you're getting out, more people are wanting to see people. I don't think I have any more, and I don't think I have any customers anymore that won't see you because of the COVID. I think that's all done.
Well, Matty Ice, what about you over the years? My normal day
my normal day is a lot different than it used to be when I used to be in the direct sales side. Now my day consists of getting up. I get kids ready for school. Some mornings I'll take them to school. Other days I don't. The wife might take them, but usually I'm in front of the computer by, I would say 8. Yeah, usually most mornings. And, I'm on, it's funny, I'm usually have like sweatpants on, but I've got to put on like a dress, maybe not a dress shirt, but at least a polo or something, if it's a little cold in the morning, I got a polo and then some kind of like somewhat, not a sweatshirt, but some kind of decent, like something over a pullover that looks nice. Cause I am on Teams calls all day long.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So I got to do my hair.
Right.
I'm not wearing a
you
baseball
got a makeup
cap.
artist.
So I actually got to look presentable. I mean, I could literally have no pants on, sitting there, but I'm on Teams calls, video calls most of the day. And, knee deep in Salesforce, knee deep in, I work on other projects that require me to be in spreadsheets all day long. So it's not exciting. I miss the customer side of it the most, and being able to go make joint calls with account executives and coaching and working through that type of thing. But it's just different. I kind of feel bad for direct sales anymore in the LTL side because things have changed so much. When you've got to be, and I get it, right? Because if you got Dave hitting you up and you got, because customer service. And I don't call all these other companies and see how they are, but from what I hear, nobody's got great customer service right now. That customers are sitting on the line. They're not getting the answers they need very quick. And so what does that mean? That means that the account executives have to start playing customer service. Mm-hmm. And, not to say that account executives are the highest paid people on the planet, but if I'm going to pay an account executive spend 8 hours a day doing customer service, they're really kind of overpaid customer service people is what at the end of the day. Yeah. And from the account executive standpoint, that's not fun. That's not what you sign up, especially people that are sales that have, whether it's this industry or any other industry, if they've signed up for outside sales, those people, for the most part, are not good being in front of a computer all day.
Right.
They get burned out. That's not what they signed up for. They're usually social creatures. They like to be out in front of people.
Right.
And that's the type of sales they're interested in. They're not interested in being a over the phone type salesperson. It's a whole different type of sell being in front of somebody face to face than it is to being on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. It's a different animal. And to your point, COVID changed that to a large degree. And I think that's been hard on a lot of account executives that that's just not who they are to be on a phone or in front of a computer all day. Mm-hmm. And I think it's taken not that, any job's fun, but I think most outside salespeople enjoy what they do for the most part. And it's taken a lot of that enjoyment out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on our side, I think it's become very difficult on customers too. I've mentioned this in the past that I think you're paying more as a customer for worse service than, so you're paying more to get less than you probably have ever. So it's tough. This industry's tough right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope it gets back more to where salesmen can sell and, everybody's always going to be held accountable for stuff, but it's more about, hey, let's bring on business. And that's everything. You can't even bring on new business right now because the operations can't handle any more business. Capacity's at a point. So it's like, I can't even do my job the way I want to do it because I can't bring on another account because I don't want it to fail, which it will.
Yeah.
And then you end up being I'm just handling customers that are
customer service.
That are price only. They don't give a shit about service at all. And good luck finding those customers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, it's, I feel for you guys on the outside because, even though I'm bored to death sitting there staring at a computer, I don't really have a whole lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
So that part's good, I guess.
Good. It's gotta, there are times where I try to not bother a Tony and try to get an answer for myself. And, I'll look it up and see that it's in Atlanta and it's been there for a couple of days. And then I'll call that customer service and they're like, yeah, it's in Atlanta. It's been there a couple of days. Yeah, I'm
what are you going to do about
aware of that. Yeah. Well aware of that. What can we do to get it going? And so then unfortunately I have to get with you to try to tell me why.
It's funny you say that because I've said and
then they'll tell me we're going to be out for delivery tomorrow.
Yeah, I work on a couple of projects and one of the projects was, you were look at stuff like that, like customer service. And, we look at how do we get the account executives on the street and not have to spend so much time on it. And, customer service, they'll track all these what these calls categories fall into, whether it was OS&D questions. But they always lump all these tracking and tracing. They're like, well, if we could just teach our customers, if these account executives could just teach these customers how to go online and use our website. And I'm saying, and they've lumped, and they say X amount of calls are tracking and tracing, and it's wearing us out. And I say, and I'll speak up and I'll say, whoa. You're calling. So what do you consider a tracking and tracing call? Because what I think in your mind you're calling a tracking and tracing is that a customer calls you, and this is how it goes. Hey, I need to know where my shipment is. Okay, what's your pro number? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, your shipment's sitting in Oakland, California. Okay, thank you. Bye. That's not how a tracking and tracing call goes. That's how you're making it out to be. Right. And if it was that simple, we could probably have a quick conversation on how to go online and track a shipment to see that it's currently sitting in Oakland. That's not how the call went. The call went like this. I need to track a shipment. Okay, it's sitting in Oakland. No shit. I see that on your website.
Right. Yep.
That's not what I need to know. It's supposed to be delivered in San Francisco 3 days ago. What's going on with it? Well, now that's in a completely different question. Do you think that person on that line knows exactly what's going on with that ship? No, they don't. So they have to pick up a phone, or they got to shoot an email to somebody, to a terminal manager that's probably not reading his emails. That's probably not picking up the phone. That's not going to get you the answer that customer service says to the customer, I'm going to have to call you back on that, or I'm going to have to shoot you an email. And then an hour goes by and customer still hadn't got a response. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to call the account executive because I got to have an answer on this.
Yeah.
Good, bad, indifferent. I got to know something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then the account executive's dragged in. And now the account executive, probably because he knows more ins and outs in customer service, maybe has a relationship that he can manipulate, has to take time, got to call out to Oakland, say, hey, dude, what's going on with this? And then, he'll actually get a real answer, and then he's got to call the customer back.
Right.
But this whole time, they're like, well, why is the account executive handle it? Because your customer service is not equipped to answer these types of questions.
Right, they're not.
And no one out of these facilities wants to answer customer service.
And they're probably getting a lot
on
them.
stuff. So I don't want to hear that 90% of your calls are tracking and tracing, like that could have simply been answered by the customer just looking online. Because that's not what they're calling in about.
Right.
They're calling in about an issue.
Yep.
They know that your freight's sitting in goddamn Oakland. That's not the problem. I need to know when it's going to deliver.
Yeah.
And what's holding it up?
Yeah.
I always tell Tony and other sales reps that I have that if I'm calling you, there's an issue.
Right.
I'm not going to, I'll text you if I don't think much about it, or I'll shoot an email. If I'm calling you, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Tony, why is this still in Atlanta and why aren't they answering?
Right.
I can, every now and again, you'll get that good customer service rep that'll be like, hold on, let me put you on hold. I'm going to call the terminal right now. And that happens. It happens rarely, but it happens, and they'll get an answer. But most of the time, they're just like, it's in Atlanta.
And I noticed earlier you said something about when you used to have customer service in the terminal, and completely agree with that. When you had
it was the best
customer service in a terminal, you probably are working with, Tracy or Mitch or whoever it is that you call in, and you pick up the phone, and he hears your voice, and he knows who you are. You know who he or she is. Yep. And it's already I have an idea of what David's calling in about, right? And it's like, hey, I got your manifest here from last night. Which pro are you looking at? I'm looking at the one that ends in 501. Okay. What's your question on it? Well, I've been looking online. I can't figure out what's going on with it. Why is it not billed? Why is it still sitting in your terminal?
Yeah.
And that person may already know the answer to it, not even have to look it up.
I know.
Right.
But you don't have that.
It's the world of shipping today.
Ship's going to happen.
Ship's going to happen.
I mean, obviously somebody's done the math and figured out it's cheaper. But I don't know. It's hard to put you can look at what the cost is up front, but I always say there's like soft costs in the background that you can't really put your thumb on. Like, do you end up losing a customer over problems like this?
Right.
Do you lose business over stuff like this?
It's a calculated risk.
You can't really put you can't say how much business you lose a year because you decided to cut corners here. Because I could figure the cost on where I shaved internally, but I can't really tell how that's costing me in the big picture on stuff.
That's the most frustrating part of my day is customer service.
Or
lack of customer service. Yeah. And I don't want to bother you or another account rep that I have or other account reps that I have.
You have to,
I know
though.
You're busy. You
have to, though.
Oddly, there's other customers than me, which doesn't make much sense, but there are. So, but just the customer service is just, it's terrible. And it's not just something new. It's been this way for a long time.
It's been heading south for a while.
Answer to say, it's in Atlanta. I didn't know it's in Atlanta.
Well,
I need you to tell me more than why it's in Atlanta.
You already tracked it and see it's in there.
Why has it been there for 3 days? That's why I'm calling you.
Yeah.
I already know.
Oh, I just now saw
that has been here a while.
Well, that's odd.
Yeah.
But I will, and occasionally you'll get the customer service rep that say, yep, it's in Atlanta and there's nothing we can do. Yeah, there's something you can do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jesus. Yeah, that's why, thanks for being no help at all.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I want to pester whoever. So
exactly. No, you got to do it,
the
though.
Ship's Gonna Happen show on this Saturday morning. I don't think we mentioned that too many times today.
Yeah.
For those
Tim
of you
usually
listening.
chirps in on that. Ship's
channeling
happen.
my inner Timmy D is out snipe hunting today.
Yeah, and thank you for listening to the show today, Matt. Thanks for coming in today. I appreciate you standing in. And David B., it's always a pleasure seeing you.
It is.
Yeah,
Sorry we ran long today,
No, hey,
Tony.
good time.
That's fine.
Hey, hopefully everybody's still listening.
Yeah. It'll
Exactly.
be. I might have to cut
Because
this
we know
up.
the females in our life aren't.
They're not listening. Hurry up with that damn show.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hey, thank you. You're listening to Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. December 4th, Saturday, 2021. Heading into the Christmas season. Looks like the containers issues is settling down. Maybe the days are increased, but it looks like it's leveling out. And
I've got one request.
what's that?
As we fade out, can we fade to a little sunny?
Yeah,
we
that's
are
a
going
good
to fade
idea.
out. Yeah. We will fade
Thanks
out.
everybody
to it.
for listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen show. All you drivers and
Gonna Happen.
people in the industry. Thanks for everything you guys do to make it roll every day.